Okay, well, an unusual timing for my daily game design, but here I am. I had grades due for my writing class this morning. Yeah, by 11. So, I had a fair amount to do, so I woke up pretty early and worked for 5 or 6 hours to get everything done. So I definitely, yeah, that really was not my favorite thing, but I had a lot of help from my reader. And there we go. And yeah, I feel decent about it. Anyway, it's what pushed back my typical time here. I have some good news to report, and that is that the the prototypes I had printed yesterday. I had two copies of the game printed, so here are some cards. In that version, I did print. They all have the same back, but then I indicate which deck the cards are a part of, and it's, the player decks are as simple as the name of the deck and then the icons. The challenge cards are about the same. Here's ADRA HQ, just that same card double-sided. And then the challenge cards, they just have the icons on them and a placeholder name, and then which category they belong to, which category of the four pillars from ADRA. And the characters are all related to one of those four pillars. So, while we did play with, I took the game over to game night last night, and we play tested I think 3 different times with 3 different groups, and one guy overlapped, but we had definitely at least 3 games. 2 of them were with 4 players. 1 of them was with 3 players. So I think it worked out pretty well to, if it's a 3-player game, hand out the characters and then just take out whatever 6 cards are not related to one of the 3 characters. Just take them out, set them aside, and then randomize the challenge cards and deal 3 to each quadrant. We found actually we're never successful, so it's possible that we would want to reduce that number by 2 or 3 cards. So instead of 12, maybe have 8 to begin with. I have a feeling 5 minutes would be more than enough for 8, but you never know. A couple of there were very positive comments, and that it was fine, and a couple people wanted to play it again and try it again. And my friend Jacoby, who's really good with picking up theme and thinking about theme, he appreciated that, how the cooperative aspect worked together with choosing what to focus on in the game and then communicating or working toward delivering the right resources there. So he appreciated it. I think the word fun came up 2 or 3 times, which was very cool. And at least there was appreciation for the gameplay. There were some comments, and we actually did tweak rules a few times. One was that, actually, let me see if I wrote this down. I don't think I did. Okay, do 2 actions on your turn. Also, my friend Reese was there. He played the first game we tried, and he was really helpful in helping me talk about the game. As in, I was teaching it, and then as I was teaching, I was stumbling through. I'd never taught the game before. And Reese was picking up on my ideas and then translating them. So I had a really hard time saying, take 2 actions in any combination of these 4 actions. Do 2 of any of combination of these 4. Like, that's a really weird thing to say, but it was even worse before. And then the other thing was discard 3 cards to what? Reduce to reduce the icons on the challenge cards. No, that wasn't really elegant enough, not clear enough. And so we're trying, like, discard 3 cards face down to become a wild symbol. So it's not that, I don't know, it'll still be a little confusing because you might want to claim what that symbol is still, which is not the idea of the game. But if that ends up being the simplest to describe, that's also fine. It would just be really hard to remember which icon it's supposed to be. Okay, the other rule that we tweaked, actually, and I believe it's worth changing, was the idea that if you complete a challenge card, then your turn is done. I think instead it's take 2 actions on your turn, rule tweak. Take 2 actions on your turn, sweep up completed challenge cards and their character cards and related character cards. Maybe resource cards at the end of your turn. Because what happened a couple times is, like, somebody would be focused on completing a challenge and they would do that just to get it out of the way. They would do that as their first action on their turn when they could have totally, like, drawn a card first, or well, that's, I guess, the main one. And then to be able to complete a challenge and then refocus is also cool. And it turned out that talking with the table about where to refocus was actually, like, a really meaningful moment for people. Like, it was memorable. It was a great way to cooperate. And so I think completing a challenge thing and then having the opportunity to refocus is actually really great. So it's also slightly easier to teach. Okay, so we played a couple times and then talked through some possibilities. One that got pretty exciting was this question of, like, what about player abilities? And I've been kind of avoiding that because I thought they would be a little too complicated for this game. However, when we actually started, like, riffing a little bit, these abilities came up, and I actually think they're, like, an interesting, these are really interesting possibilities. And it's because they're just rules that you get to break. So it's not something special you have to, like, remember. It's not anything, not some new concept. Rather, it's just being able to break the rules you already learned. And then what I would do is probably have, like, an advanced variant where players get to use their player powers, and then add a couple of 2 or 3 challenge cards to the game if this was true. So these are the characters and their abilities. So first responder gets to break the focus rule. That means they can play a card to any of the 4 quadrants regardless of where the focus is. So they just get to, like, pop up and address this situation. They're like first to the scene even before anybody knows what's going on. That kind of concept. The builder can play any number of cards when they play cards. So as an action, you can play any number of cards. So if they have 4 cards in their hand, then they can, let's say, for example, they can refocus ADRA and then play 3 cards to completely satisfy a challenge card. But they still get just, like, the 2 regular actions. It's just one of their actions. Now playing can be playing cards can now be playing any number of cards. And then the teacher has no hand limit. So what they can start doing is they can be collecting cards. If they don't have the right symbols, they can draw some cards, and then if things get crazy, they have more options, so they can participate in more things. Also, they would be the only ones who can like basically bomb a challenge card with 2 wilds at one time. So they could, if they did get their hand up to 6 cards, they can just go boom, boom on their turn and discard 6 cards. It's a lot, but in an emergency, maybe that's helpful. They're just like unloading all of their knowledge in a way. It's not perfectly thematic here, but at least the idea is we're just breaking rules. And it should be very simple to implement these powers. The Doctor can refocus for free at any time on their turn. So what they could do is they could refocus, play a card, refocus again, play a card, and then refocus a third time. Maybe it should be refocus once for free. Yeah, because there's no real difference between the first responder and the Doctor. So I think what the Doctor does, we thought about some like medical icon ability, but I want to leave the icons as they are. That ability was probably going to have us change a couple of redundant things about the cards. But for now, it seems to me, maybe I'll just say a free refocus at any time. So what I think would be great is the Doctor can play their 2 cards and then refocus for somebody else. Free refocus at any time on your turn. So even as they end their turn, they can refocus. Is that powerful? I don't know. Maybe refocusing, so they get to play their 2 cards out. Yeah, that's no different from the first responder. Effectively, except for that they can refocus for somebody else. I don't know. We can leave it there for now, but anyway, these are some of the ideas. And then there was interest in HQ, in the ADRA HQ card being something to like stop and meet up at. But anyway, the playtest went really well, I thought, but the main complaint was keeping track of icons. So yes, it makes sense to me that that's the main problem. And so what I'm going to do is try to lay out a new type of... I really don't want to, but I think it's going to be better because I already have these 2 decks, these 2 prototypes that cost me like $100 to print because they had to lay out the things, and then they printed 117 cards each on color, with color and on cardstock. So it was like really expensive to do this. It's one reason why I don't like making material prototypes. So, because it's horrible to like print and then turn around and reprint for another $100. But what I'm going to do, I just had an idea this morning about what to do here on these cards. Actually, well, I could just drop in these. I wonder if I uploaded them already. The other icons. Maybe I did not. Looks like I did not. I did. So what was actually kind of cool is I already heard back from Sharon. I sent her an email. I think I read it out yesterday, where I was saying that I don't think, that I really have some issues with the icons as they are. The green ones that she sent to me. Why did I do that? Is there a way that I can just drop all of these without them doing that weird thing? So these colors, it also turned out, were not great. So there was a color issue, there was a legibility issue with the icons themselves. Okay, so why are there 2 of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So let me group, position all these in the center. Shrink them. Okay, so here's the idea. Well, I guess first I'm going to remove the background. Okay, so let's say, actually, let me pull up some of these cards. Let's say, are they all here? No. Okay, they're all in here. So I'm gonna pick, where are the challenge cards? Okay, so let's say it's this challenge card. 3 food and 2 water. The first thing I wanted to do is establish, probably by rarity, maybe not by rarity, but like by some kind of order. I mean, this feels kind of right. Where you've got a kind of a hierarchy here of resources. Okay, so now what happens is the card would have, the challenge card would always have if it has icons of a certain type, they will be aligned on these rows. I should have thought of this forever ago, but anyway, I did not. Okay. So where's it? 1.6. What is there a way to measure? The stream looks okay, but YouTube is saying it's not smooth. I don't know why. Why does this keep... Okay, 1.6, there it is. Okay, this one has... well, let me do this. So the icons are always aligned here. And then I think that means then, well, these are probably a little too spread out in that case. Position vertically. Try one more. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring these out and I wonder if tidying things up here would be helpful. Yep. Okay. Okay, so let's this is tricky because I would still want, we would still want the, we'd still want the title of the card. I wonder if like the title, interesting. What if these cards were actually landscape? Interesting. I'm thinking about the orientation right now, like the way that people would want to hold cards or the way that they're used to holding cards, and then what I would be asking them to do with this card. So here's what the challenge card. So these would be gone. Remember, we're doing, right, we're doing the one I showed, so this card. And then these cards, I think, would be like this, which I don't love all of a sudden. And let's say, for example, this was which card? Let's just pull out. I want one with, what is it? Food and water. Where's one with food and water? I can do this one. So here's a food and seed card, right? So that is owned by the teacher. So the food and seed card. So what it would look like is this. Oops. Right, so essentially you would be playing the two cards. So this is the challenge card. Maybe I should write that down. Challenge card and player card. Player card. Yeah. So in this way, let me make another one. Let's get a water card out there. I think you see where this is going. So water medical, okay. So essentially just, where am I going? Oh shoot. Yeah, I need to leave one of these cards. Okay, now copy it, and then water medical. So this is what the other card would look like. Oops. Water medical. And then we need one more. Actually, we need two more food. So I'll do that. Let's just duplicate, and then let's just say there's a card from the first responder with 2 food, and then oops, and then one more card with, what do we need? We still need water. Let's just say water and a tent. So I think you get it by now. And so I'm going to export these. Stick with me, stream. Stick with me. What was it? 22. Oops. You know what's pretty crazy is one of my favorite chess commentators and streamers passed away unexpectedly. Daniel Naroditsky. He, in my view, he was the most articulate, most clearest communicator of any of the streamers or commentators that I watched. And I watched a lot of chess for a while. There was a time when chess was my main, it was like my main sort of background noise, or like, I've got a few minutes, I'm gonna watch a YouTube video, and it was chess. And I went through a bunch of different streamers, and I watched I watched a few. It was like when the pandemic really, this little outline. When the pandemic really settled in, it was interesting because there are some streamers that were like a really big deal, that are a big deal now, that were just kind of getting started then. And Gotham Chess, who is I think the biggest chess channel right now, YouTube channel, maybe Twitch streamer too, I'm not sure. Where he was still like, he was going for 100,000 followers, and now I forget, he's in the millions, I think. And so I was just getting to know these guys. I watched him, and I think Anna, I can't think of her name. I watched Agad, is the Madur. Can't think of how to pronounce his channel name, but he is, I think, guy from where? Czech Republic or Croatia or something like that. And he does really great short commentary type of stuff, and or he'll show games and like talk through them, and he does this whole pause the video, I'll give you a couple seconds, what is this thing? He says the same stuff like almost every time, and it was just really cool. If you something, or you just want to enjoy the show, then whatever. So he'll like pause the video, he'll ask you to pause the video, and then you like analyze the position, and then try to think of the next move in the game, and then whatever. So I was watching all these guys, but then, and Eric, what's his name? Eric Rosen. I was watching a lot of the Chess Bras with Eric somebody, and Aman somebody. Really entertaining guys. Hikaru, I started watching Hikaru. A little bit of, what's her name? Nemo. But I watched a lot of Daniel Naroditsky. And he was my absolute favorite. Just like, yeah, his chess was good. I mean, he's a grandmaster, and he won a bunch of stuff when he was young. He's not like super grandmaster, but he was competing pretty well against some of those guys, especially in bullet chess, I believe. And anyway, I loved his teaching. I loved his coaching and his commentary. Very, very strong communicator. And I just saw on Facebook last night that he passed away unexpectedly. He's 29. So there's no clarity on what happened. They suspect he was having kind of a mental break. He had a stream. His last stream was his last stream apparently he was pretty like kind of unstable, seemed like he was on something maybe. I guess one of his I don't know about mentors accused him of cheating. I don't know the details. I missed it, but now there's some people saying that he was bullied. Anyway, he took a break. I have not really watched a lot of chess video stuff in a while, chess streaming in a while. So I learned that he took a break with the last video that he has posted on YouTube. And that is a tragedy in and of itself because, I mean, just the video is like, I'm back or something like that. Or you thought I was gone. And he starts with, I'm back, you know, and I was working on some stuff and I'm better than ever and or whatever. So anyway, nobody really has mentioned what happened to him. But they suspect maybe an overdose or something like that. But part of it sounds like it was bullying. Maybe. Anyway, brilliant guy. And I'll definitely miss his teaching. Really sweet guy, really humble, really, really cool. And that was pretty nuts. Just finding out on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, not cool. So it looks like my stream is healthy again. Yeah, you know what? I realize sometimes I can be a little pushy now, and oh. Yeah, anyway, I've been getting some feedback that I'm judgmental, and I agree with that. Actually, I think it's one thing that, you know, if you have a relationship with me, you know, sometimes it's easy for me to be overly critical of myself and the situation or what's going on. So because I'm thinking about a lot, I'm processing a lot, and I have goals and I have intentions to hit certain marks, and sometimes I feel like I'm getting there, sometimes I don't. But anyway, I come from a background of perfectionism, straight up perfectionism. And I think some fear, like wanting to prove myself, wanting to get attention. And anyway, however it happened, I did develop pretty strong opinions or sensibilities about certain things. Like one of them is music. So I've done a lot of music. I'm not professional. I mean, I've gotten paid to do it, but I'm not like at the level of anybody you'd hear on the radio, at least not with that quality of voice. I think there are some things I can do that very few people can do. One of those things was this last weekend, and that is just engage in a mixed audience of youth and young adults, parents and families, and do so in a way that's memorable, really engaging. Anyway, be able to communicate and not rely on, you know, a lot of chords and stuff. I can play guitar and get through those moments pretty well, and I think it's an unusual skill set to have. It's not that nobody else can do it. Lots of people can do it, but it's something I've done a lot, and a lot more than most other people. So then, you know, and then I kind of know that, and there's a target I have for myself, and I sometimes over apply those things when it comes to the expectations for other people. And anyway, one of those things now is when somebody I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I've now been neck deep or in over my head in games and gaming for the past almost 4 years, to the point that I'm constantly drinking in games. It is the thing I do daily, sometimes multiple hours a day, where I'm learning about what's going on in the gaming space, where I interact and I ask questions, I give feedback, I offer ideas, sometimes advice. I think, as some of you know, I've been paid to write rule books now. It doesn't mean I'm perfect or incredible at it, but it is something I can offer. It's there are certain things in the gaming space that now I realize I have the ability to offer value with. So one of those things is reminding people how important research is, and they don't like to hear it. You know, everybody wants to believe their game is unique, the first of its kind, groundbreaking, and sure, that can be true. But now that I've had exposure and I'm not catching up, but I'm I'm really involved in gaming to the point that I'm aware of many of the ideas in hundreds of games at this point. If I haven't played them, and I have played hundreds, certainly, probably not thousands yet, but certainly in the 400 to 500 game range. If I haven't played it, I've watched a video about it, heard about it somehow, because I'm around people that play lots. I watch videos where, there's 20 games and they go through all the, the basics of the gameplay and whatever. So now I have this impulse. It's really hard for me to shut off sometimes. The main thing is I just want to encourage people, do your research, like go and learn from other. And this is an impulse coming from doing a doctorate, and it doesn't mean anything other than I was trained in such a way that encouraged me to do research, to go out and see what's true about the world, go out and see what other people have thought about the world, and try to aggregate those ideas, learn from those ideas. Like, let them influence me and not just try to introduce things, but try to connect ideas. So where does this idea fit in the overall, the broader network of ideas in human interest? So now when somebody says something like this, hey everyone, I'm new here and I'm working on creating a board game that I believe is a unique twist on board games in general, my thought is, you might want to, I can't tell. It feels like you probably haven't done a lot of research, but let me just see. So this game's tied into a book I just finished writing that is a horror origins of three evil entities. I have absolutely no idea where to start with this, so I just started in writing the rules and concept down on paper. This game will need cards and have the figures covered when the artwork gets done. But anyway, so I said, what are some similar games? And that is a soft way to ask, like, what are you aware of out there? You said this was unique. You said this might be a new twist, a unique twist on board games in general. So I asked, okay, what games are similar? Then he says, think Risk. This person says, think Risk mixed with a card battle game. And already with the reference to Risk, my sense is this person probably has not been around very many modern board games. So then I thought of a handful, I don't know, 8 to 10, maybe 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 games that have a map and that care about area majority or area control, and there are cards involved. And I haven't played, have I played all these? Actually, yes, I have played all these. And I'm sure there are lots more. I don't know what they are. But I just learned Inish last night, had a really great time with it. It was cool. It was a little overwhelming, a lot of card reading, but I thought it was really interesting. So anyway, I'm still learning too, but the thing is, and then he says, oh, I've never heard of any of those. Wrote my book, thought up the game that ties to the lore and stories for my book. Thought it was a cool concept. I know Pokemon and Magic, not extensively in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I know Risk and Clue and D&D and whatnot, but the book I wrote is pretty good according to the beta readers. So it's time to put this world together so others can enjoy the project as well. Anyway, I think more power to you. I think that's an exciting idea. I know one other guy that put a lot of effort into a similar concept where they did some world building and want to design a game for that world, and I think that's a really cool thing. But I always encourage you, go out and do some research, go out and do some reading, see what is similar, not just to find your niche, but to borrow. Like, this game right here is coming it was inspired by 5 Minute Dungeon / Marvel and Magic Maze. So what's great is I think we found a way to borrow the ideas usefully, but then also carve out our own our own space. And some of that was because of Mike and the idea that turn-based might actually work better. So we came up with the ADRA HQ as being the thing. Instead of moving a pawn around, we're just spinning the card around. I forget when I had that idea, but it doesn't really matter. The thing is, our starting point was other games. That's really, really important. The starting point was ideas from other games. And then if you blend games, you're likely to come up with something interesting. So that's what's happening here. Okay, so this is my idea for card layout. I'm sure it's been done before. I don't know that it's brilliant, but look, it looks like it'll be useful. Let me do one more card because it makes it look sort of easy in that there are just these two icons on the top and you can look across and see that those icons have been played. Let me pull out another card. So I'm thinking, where was it? Here, right? So let's do another big one. Let's do 4 books, 2 tools, 1 seedling. Okay, what would that look like? 4 books, 2 tools, 1 seedling. Okay, so first thing is to create the challenge card. So what did I say? 4 books. Oh, they're all the bottom. Let me do something else then. 4 tools, seedling, and food. Medical, water, and food. Those are all similar too. Interesting. I wonder if somehow five water, 2 food. Tools. Is this it? 1. Books, tools, and seeds. Tools, seeds, and food. Well, I'll just do it. So let's see. Tools, seeds, and food. So I think it was 4. So that would leave 2. So that would look like this. Yeah. And then let's make a couple. I think we could do, for sure the teacher could be in on this and offer 2 books. So that's good. And make another one. Let's say there is a tool and a tent, for example. So what I'm thinking, or what I'm sort of getting at here, oh, these cards would never have anything more than 2 icons, so we can start there. What I'm trying to simulate in a way is how messy these cards might get, or how what else did I need? Let's say seed and medical. And then let's say book and water. Sure. So book, tool. Wait, what is it? You need 4 tools. Wait, I don't need books. Why am I doing this? Yeah, I don't need books. So I'll do one of tools, 2 tools. I'm just trying to see if everything like sort of lines up better, makes more sense this way. 2 tools. Okay, so I don't need this one. Let's do a tool. Let's do a tool and a tent. Why? Okay, I think I have almost everything I need, so one more tool. I guess I did it already. Let's do a tool and water. So 1, 2, 3 tools, 4 tools. Okay. So I'll just, let's see, it's 23 through 28. There's no great reason to like export these, but I'm just having a look. What was it, 23 through 28? Okay, and I'll go down. Where is it? Wait a minute. Where did I put the sample? What? Did I delete it? Oh. What is happening there? Okay, well. Let me try adding these cards, see what happens. Right, that's pretty weird. Looks like my connection is struggling a little bit again. Okay, it's coming back. Stick with me, stick with me. I think we're alive still. Okay. Around the corners just a little bit. Keep a little outline. Very weird, but it's not a huge deal. Okay, so here's the challenge card thing. I don't know what's going on. It might be just afternoon and there's a lot of traffic. So is this just a superior system? It probably is. And it wouldn't make the cards look pretty. I kind of like that, you know, when they are... Why in the world did this happen? I don't know. Yeah, that's very weird, right? So 5. Just make them look similar. Or like, what if this is true, for instance? Like, does this help a lot or not really? You'd really have to be lining up your cards, which maybe is fine. I don't think that's a problem. Or like, what if this looked a little bit different? Wow, I'm getting hungry. So is that just a lot easier to read than, well, I have it here. I have a feeling it's way easier to read. Okay, let me just add the next one. Who played? Andrew. Jeremy. He joined last night. What was his thing? Let me open up another Discord real quick. Because I kind of don't remember how to give a nickname. Because I can do that, right? In my server, I can give people a nickname. Anyway. Who else played? Jacoby, but I don't think he's in here. Yeah, I think it is. So there'd still be 2 icons per card. Those icons could be anywhere on the card, but I mean, they could be any icons, but they will always be on the same row in the card. It's not going to be crazy to lay out. It's just going to be kind of tedious. Well, maybe not. Maybe I could have Gemini do it. I think I probably could. Yeah, that's kind of annoying that I just printed these out for $100. For $100. They're still playable. They're still playable. Partly because the cards really don't require that many icons. The challenge cards, they don't. What gets a little confusing is when people start spreading out the cards in different ways around the challenge card. As long as they're like stacked neatly on the challenge card, I think it's better. Like, it's okay. Anyway, today that was a lot of work today. I do need to do a lot better job giving feedback earlier, or finishing grading earlier. Anyway, I feel good about this progress in the game too. I do have a meeting with Sharon. Oh, I mentioned I forget what I got distracted with, but I mentioned that I sent some critiques of the icons to Sharon, and it was interesting to get a response, which was like, wow, I'm going to send this to our marketing team. And I think the shocking one in particular will be using the cross. The other one, I think the other, well, I said 3 things. One was, these are not eye-catching symbols. And I showed you yesterday, but I'll show you what they look like. I made a card back with them, I thought. Yeah, here they are. So these are the symbols. They're sleek, they're fine. They're well differentiated, but the color being that bluish green is not super eye-catching. So I was saying that I think the color, that they're not vibrant or eye-catching. I think the color needs to pop on these icons if we're going to use them. That's why I think the card back I made looks fine. Like, it looks decent. It's because there's so much... Where did it go? It's because there's so much life here. Unfortunately, the colors look too similar on the cards. Like, there were definitely complaints about that. Like, dark green, purple, and brown, they look too similar. So what these guys, the guys that played last night, were actually hoping for would be not circles, but like the icons themselves. Differentiated by shape. Rather than just color, of course. But I think the shape is okay. But the main thing is the colors are not great. So anyway, I said 3 things. One was these colors are an issue, or the lack of interesting color. Yeah, the lack of interesting colors. Another issue is this use of the cross. And I checked with Gemini yesterday, just to get started. Gemini said a couple of surprising things. One was that this symbol is well, it's referred to as an emblem, first of all, so I think that means it's different. But it is protected internationally. It's not trademarked. It's literally somehow protected by, I think, the Geneva Convention or something like that. So it's like a big deal. And so there's that it's not just like an ordinary trademark, but it's recognized internationally as a symbol for peace, don't shoot, medic, that kind of stuff. And to use anything like it At least this is what Gemini's portrayal of the position of the Red Cross is. For anything like it to be used is to dilute the meaning of don't shoot. And that's interesting. Even if the color is different, if the shape is an equilateral cross, if it's the same, then this was the other thing, then it's possible that the Red Cross would send a cease and desist letter. So it's a little interesting that ADRA wouldn't already be aware of that or wouldn't have gotten that feedback from somebody, including from the Red Cross. Because if they've had these icons for a while, then maybe it's no problem. But apparently, and this is again according to Gemini, they've sent messages to like video using the cross in their video games. I don't know what else, or just as representing medicine or like medical help. Apparently they've discouraged people from doing that. So that was the second thing. The third thing, yeah, I'm struggling here. My connection is struggling. The third thing is that it's odd to me that they chose the US dollar symbol and placed it in livelihood. Like, I get that it's a US-based organization, but it still feels kind of awkward. Jingoistic is definitely not the right word, but a little bit weird that that instead of something like tools or a building, a structure of some kind, they just use currency as if that's the main way to improve somebody's livelihood, or as if that's really what development is all about. And it's currency matters, but industry productivity comes in other forms too. So those are the three pieces of feedback. I was surprised that she emailed back this morning and said, "Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to send this to our marketing team." So we'll see what she says. Anyway, that's an hour for me. I feel good about testing out some ideas. I wonder if we already got feedback. Okay, here's an idea. I don't think you should have to pick a specific icon for the wild, but it is possible. It is possible. That's not my preference. I would like. Well, if you did, yeah, I don't want to add components. That's part of the issue. What we could do, however, is no. I was just thinking you could use a card to cover up one of the icons, but I don't like that either. It's possible, but I think it would make the whole thing look weird and cluttered. But anyway, okay, so at least Jeremy is on board with this new card layout. It is more legible. This still looks messy, but you can see across and just check and see how many there are. And it's a lot faster to see that this way. Anyway, okay, that's an hour for me. Thanks for joining. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye for now. Oh, Seth, I see. Yeah. Let me see if, because I don't know if Seth is still there. Oh yeah, I gotcha. It's just my connection is no good. So, yeah, but I'm seeing your stuff right now. And I do need to figure that. I feel like I was like clicking on something. So like, what do I have to do? Right click on the name. Oh. My connection is so bad. Well, it looks like it should be. Yeah, it looks healthy now, and then I don't know why it's in and out. Oh, there we go. Change nickname. Heck yeah. I don't know if people will like me doing that, but yeah. Right. I think I'm gonna make that like a kind of requirement or an expectation in the server. Because I had to ask who Tyler was. We were like talking about the retreat, and I couldn't remember who. What is he? He's something 666. I totally couldn't think of who that was. AFK 666. Anyway, yeah, that was helpful. Yeah, so the cross, it was interesting to me that this humanitarian organization is using a cross. It seems obvious to me that they should not be doing that. But we'll see if they have the leeway with their branding team or marketing team to be able to make those changes. This is weird. Twitch just looks frozen now. Anyway, thanks for the help, Seth. Hope to see you soon. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why the video on Twitch to me looks frozen. But for some reason it sounds like maybe my audio is still coming through. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm heading to Other Realms tonight. Hoping to play a couple games that hoping to play a couple games I learned recently. But anyway, see you, Seth. I still haven't caught one of your streams. I forget when you're streaming, but I do want to have a look at some point. But yeah, I'll see ya.